And welcome to our coverage of the NCAA basketball tournament regional here in Charlotte. Been a great regional, and congratulations to the Charlotte 49ers. Did a great job of hosting the event this weekend, though. But we saw some good basketball, and we knew we were going to see some basketball today. We're going to start first with game one. That was a defensive war, and I know we got tickled several times, Coach Tony, watching a couple of players in there in the paint just going up and getting hit and working. Those shots weren't going down, though. But great defensive battle. Michigan State, for the second year in a row, ends the run of the Virginia Cavaliers.
Hey, you're right there, Coach. And like most of the coaches talk about in the tournament, if you can get off to a good start, that will certainly help you win the game. And coaching both games we saw tonight, hey, that's pretty much what happened.
Trice got off to a huge start for Michigan State as he came out and I think scored 13 of their first 15 points there early, and really set the tone, because once they jumped out to that double-digit lead, then it seemed like, you know, that was a mountain that Virginia could not climb. They got back within two a couple of times, and every time they needed a stop or something good to happen, they couldn't get it.
Hey, you're right there, Coach. I mean, Michigan State always came back with a great play, and on down the stretch, we were talking about them missing a lot of free throws down the stretch. When they had to, they made the free throws.
Again, this was a team, Michigan State team, that a lot of people said is not one of Tom Izzo's better teams, but you know that with the tradition they've got, when it comes March, Michigan State turns it on, and they've got two senior players that have been there through all the wars, been in the tournament every year, and they really stepped up and led their team in a big way today.
You're right there, Coach. And what Coach Izzo mentioned in his post-game interview, he said this may not be one of his most talented teams, but in regards to togetherness on and off the court, it's probably one of the better teams they've had, and that's indicative of the way they play. They look like they really enjoy playing the game, and he's still got some athletes. Shooting
was not a clinic today. The Virginia Cavaliers were 2 out of 17 behind the stripe from three-point land and shot, I think, about 29% from the floor like that. And that's the difference in the game, I mean, because they won the battle of the boards and all like that, though. But the name of the game is you got to put the biscuit in the basket. And they missed a lot of putbacks. They had 18 offensive rebounds, but could not put the ball in the hole.
That's correct there, Coach. But let's give Michigan State credit on that aspect. Even though Virginia had some looks, oftentimes they had a hand in their face by some of those defensive gurus of Michigan State on the boards.
You're old school. I'm old school too, but I enjoyed seeing a physical war, because that's what it was out there. It was contact. Every shot taken was pretty much contested in game one right there, though. But congratulations. I know that Michigan State will go on and play well. They're playing well right now. But, you know, you feel a little bit for Virginia, because this is 2 straight years that they have won the ACC regular season championship and have run into a bad matchup against Michigan State, who has ended their season.
Hey, you're right there, Coach. But like I said, both teams, Virginia and Michigan State, have 2 outstanding teams. But Michigan State today, they won on the defensive boards and glass. And we were talking about the other night that in this game, Virginia and Michigan State, that more likely the team that played the best defense would win, and the best team did.
Game 2 was one that really concerned me, and I told you that coming up here, that, you know, Duke was playing a very tall, lanky team, very, very athletic, and I did not know how they would match up. Well, I'll tell you how they matched up. They came out and took the game early to San Diego State. That a great opening 4 or 5 minutes, Justice Winslow just really set the tempo of pushing the ball handling. I think he had like 9 rebounds in the first 5-6 minutes of the game. But Duke jumped on them early, and I honestly thought that San Diego State, to me, looked timid, maybe a little bit, I don't know, intimidated playing a Duke team right there, playing in a big game like this, though. But they were not the same team that we saw Friday, the way they jumped out and ran the floor. They looked like they were thinking too much and just were a little bit timid early in the game.
Hey, you're right there. And Coach Fisher, he mentioned the same thing. And some of the players mentioned about, because there were several questions asked about why they weren't making so-and-so shots. And the reason why, they said Duke was really applying a significant amount of pressure upon them, which they haven't seen all year.
Let's give, like you said, let's give Duke credit that they've got a young team right here of their defense. That Coach K mentioned that this was probably two of their better defensive games they've had back-to-back here in the tournament right now, though. But they applied the pressure. And again, I'm going back to Winslow. Again, he had a double-double. Just a lot of things, and when Coach K said that he and Okafor both played today, when they play at that kind of level, it makes him a different team.
Hey, you're absolutely right, Coach. And that's one thing I was wondering about. Coming into today's game, did the Aztecs have anyone that could contest Okafor? The answer is no. They did not have any, and even some of their Aztec players said he was extremely difficult to try to handle and control. That they just never seen or played anybody like him.
Well, he finished with 26 points, and there were times out there that they actually doubled and triple teamed him. And one time he dribbled out of the triple team, out on the wing. I thought he was going to shoot a three, and then turned around and dribbled inside and ended up taking the ball to the basket and scoring even after dribbling the ball out of a triple team.
Hey, you're right there, Coach. And I like what Coach K said, too, about this group. They're having fun, and they're also one of togetherness. And don't be too surprised how far the Blue Devils may go, because they're really peaking and playing great as a team and having fun at this time.
Well, this was big for them too, and I actually talked with several players in the locker room about how big was it for you to win your regional and get out of North Carolina, because it seemed like the past couple of years in Greensboro they got upset against a team by Lehigh, I believe it was, and then they lost a Mercer game where they played some games in North Carolina like that though. So they said they were happy to move on to Houston for the next round, though. So that's got to be a big relief for them, because sometimes when you're playing in your home state, even though you got the home crowd, it might add a little extra pressure, too.
Hey, you're right. That had pressure. And, Coach K, he's very complimentary of the Aztecs, but it's just one of those type of situations, Coach, where Duke, they had some athletes, too, and I think they played a little more disciplined ball than what the Aztecs played. Well, one thing, they had a great year. The Aztecs won 27 games.
Well, like I said, I had a bad feeling because they looked impressive the other night, though. But, the thing I like about Duke's team is they are so versatile that they can play a lot of different styles of basketball. They can slow it down. They can sit in there and bang against a team like, Virginia that slows the tempo down. They can run. They can play about any style of ball you want played, though. And, again, I think that's going to help them as they continue to move on with the different type of matchups they get and all, that they've got versatile players who can play a lot of different positions and the game plans they can come up with.
Hey, points well made. And like Coach K mentioned, one of the reasons why they're one of the top offensive teams in the country is, one, of course, they got Okafor. Two, they can drive to the hole like Winslow. And three, they got some, pretty good outside shooters. When you put all three of those together, that's a tough thing to handle.
Well, Michigan State will be advancing on now. They'll play in Syracuse next weekend, while Duke will go and take on Utah. That'll be an interesting matchup, I believe. And, Coach K said, which is, typical with Coach K, he focuses one game at a time, though. But they'll be playing the other Coach K. Yeah, that's kind of the Coach K versus Coach K. It'll be kind of interesting. He said that may be the first time they've had two Polish coaches matching up in a tournament like that, though. But they will be playing a Utah team that had a good win over Georgetown last night, and I think it got off to a slow start but came back from double digits to take that game last night.
And Coach, on their behalf, that's kind of unusual from the games what we've been seeing. Most of the time, the team that jumped out a lead, they never looked behind, but now you can't afford to get behind the 8 ball too far.
Again, so Duke is now in the Sweet 16. You've got North Carolina, NC State. He's talking, Coach K was mentioning about the triangle up there, about how the teams in the ACC, are 10-1 in competition.
Right. They're doing an outstanding job. And let's not forget, too, about the Louisville Cardinals, because there's a possibility they could be in that thing, too.
So it will be interesting now, though. But, I felt like, and maybe I'm biased, that the ACC is the best basketball conference in the country. Some will argue with me and say that, though. But I think they are really flexing their muscles right now as the tournament gets down to the Sweet 16.
That's right. And we're down to 16 teams, Coach, and anything can happen in that Sweet 16.
Well, that's going to wrap it up from Time Warner Arena. The Bowtie brothers have had fun today in bringing you all the coverage right here of the tournament, though. I think it's been a well-run tournament. We appreciate, again, the support of the 49ers up here. They've done a good job of running the regionals, and want to see if the Blue Devils can continue on and maybe bring home another national championship.
Coach, and the attendance up here has been fantastic because there was over 18,000 today, and most of the other events they were around 16,000, 18,000.
And we want to close on this with a special thought right now for Mike Bray. Right now that we worked with Mike Bray at Morgan Wooten's basketball camp, and we used to do Morgan's camp up in Maryland right there. Lost his mother before the game last night, so we appreciate, he would too, your thoughts and prayers right now with his family. Kind of a busy time of the year. Coach last night got a big win under adverse circumstances though, but we wish him, his family, and his team well also.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach.
That's going to wrap it up. He's Coach Tony. I'm Coach Cox. We've enjoyed being with you. Goodbye, everybody.